In these uncertain economic times, it's easy to be worried about protecting your wealth, your hard-earned savings, and your family's financial future. Plunging interest rates, the devaluating dollar, and political unrest constantly threaten what you have worked hard to earn and all that you own. That's why now it's more important than ever to protect your assets and have the money you need to make your dreams come true. Welcome to the Global Wealth Fortress Report with successful global entrepreneur and wealth preservation expert Joel Nagel. Joel's helped thousands of people just like you protect what you have so that you can make even more and make your every dream come true. So, sit back and enjoy Joel Nagel's offshore expert advice on how you can live the good life at a great price, where the sun never sets on your financial fortress.
Hello and welcome to another edition of the Global Wealth Fortress Report. My name is Joel Nagel and I'm coming to you today live from the Grand Bayman Gardens Resort on beautiful Ambergris Caye, Belize. As North America and Europe enter the cooler times of fall, I've come here to catch back up with summer. It's been beautiful, wonderful weather here. I originally came a few days ago with the idea in mind that I was going to have to self-quarantine for 10 days here at this resort, which of course is not a bad place to quarantine if you have to. It's really one of the nicest resorts in Ambergris Caye. They have studio, 1-bedroom, 2-bedroom, 3-bedroom condos here, and the largest freshwater swimming pool, a workout facility, and tennis courts. So you can't really complain about that. But just yesterday, the Prime Minister has removed the quarantine requirement. So if you show up in Belize with a negative COVID test, which I did, you no longer have to quarantine. So I'm pretty happy about that. I can move around not only here on the island, but on the mainland, and I don't have to stay here at the resort, although it's a wonderful place to certainly spend some time. As you can see, not a lot of people here at the moment, not only at this resort, but all across Ambergris Caye. The tourists have really not come back yet. The international borders have only been open for about 10 days, and I think the word is slow to leak out, but now with the borders open, beautiful weather here, and no longer any kind of need to quarantine, I would highly recommend that you consider coming here for the fall, the winter, early next spring, to come down and get your dose of the beautiful sunshine here. Today is supposed to be about 83 degrees. As you can see, it's very sunny, blue skies. We have had a few thunder showers come through. It is the time of the year that we do get those thunderstorms here in Belize, but for the most part, similar to South Florida, you get these big puffy clouds that spring up throughout the day, and then in the late afternoon we get some showers, and then it clears out at night and starts over again the next day. So, in the last episode of the Global Wealth Fortress Report, I was speaking about the very popular QRP program here for retirees, and today I want to talk about a fairly new addition to the visa options here in Belize, and that's an investor visa program. It just sprung up here in the last year. I think Belize, like a lot of countries, is looking to try to attract investors here, and the Belize investor visa is open for people that are good health, that don't have any kind of criminal background, and who are willing to invest at least $250,000 here in Belize. That's a pretty standard investment amount. A lot of the other countries, Costa Rica, Panama is in the process of raising its investor visa to a similar amount, some of the Caribbean countries, and it's a good bit lower than similar type programs in Europe, for example. Portugal is 500,000 euros, which is, that's $550,000. So the Caribbean and the Central American programs tend to be about a half or a third as much as the European programs. And it's interesting that people are starting to flock towards the investor visa here in Belize. Now, not only do you have to invest $250,000, but it has to be a true investment. So you can't just come and buy a home on the beach and say that's going to be my winter pad. If you do that, it's going to be questioned whether or not that's truly an investment. So you're better off buying a condo in a compound like this, investing in a hotel, doing something that has a discernible effect on tourism or some other industry. It doesn't have to be tourism. You could invest in, let's say, the agricultural industry or something like that. But it has to be a true investment, meaning you're putting your money into Belize. Obviously, you hope to get a return on whatever that investment is. So obviously, as a tourism destination, real estate is going to be the most popular category of investor visas. We're seeing a lot of people that are, as I mentioned, buying condos like this. And over the next few days, I'm going to have some guests on my show, people who have projects here in Ambergris Caye or around Belize. I'm going to ask them to talk about what they do, and maybe some of their options that they have available might be interesting to you. But again, the criteria: invest $250,000, true investment, don't have any criminal background, and that you're generally of good health. And when I say generally of good health, they're not looking that you're able to go out and run a 4-minute mile or anything like that. It's they don't want you to have any kind of communicable diseases, things that could potentially overwhelm their health system, because they have a pretty fragile and I don't want to use the word primitive, but there's not a lot of depth to the health system here in Belize. They certainly are able to take care of the people here, but they don't want people who would move in and then use up a lot of the health services. That's the other reason why they want people who come here to bring a negative COVID test. And by the way, to be clear, it's a negative COVID. The test that you have to get is called the PCR test. Maybe in the future it'll expand some more and include other tests, but that's the test you have to get now. I think that has 98% accuracy. So that's a little bit about the tourist visa option, as I mentioned, the investor visa option. As I mentioned, over the next few days, I'm going to be talking to a few folks that are building different types of projects. Some of those are available to any kind of investor. A place like this it's branding itself a Best Western, and virtually anybody could buy their own condo here, put it in a rental pool, and it could qualify you for the investor visa. Other projects are more expensive or require that you're an accredited investor. That's on a case-by-case basis. The law itself doesn't require that, but sometimes the projects do because of securities considerations. So we'll get a chance to talk more about that over the next few days. I'm gonna go meet some friends and have a late afternoon drink here now that the ban has been lifted on people to get together. We'll still socially distance and maintain masks when we're in close proximity, but I'm very happy that I'm able to get out and move around. So I hope you enjoyed this segment about investor visas in Belize. Until next time, I wish you health, I wish you happiness, and I wish you a wealth that can't be taken by others. Until next time, see you.
Thanks for joining Joel Nagel and the Global Wealth Fortress Report, a whole new approach to asset protection and estate planning, so that now you can live the good life at a great price, where the sun never sets on your financial fortress.
Hello, and welcome to another edition of the Global Wealth Fortress Report. I'm Joel Nagel. I'm coming to you today from the Grand Bayman Resort on Ambergris Key, Belize, uh, just outside of the town of San Pedro. It's really a beautiful resort. I'm very happy to be spending a little time here. As I mentioned yesterday, I have to go through a quarantine. Uh, it's not the end of the world. You can see I'm hanging out at this beautiful resort. However, I just learned today that the Prime Minister has eliminated the quarantine. I haven't read the changes in the rule yet. I'm not sure who all it applies to. So for the time being, I'm still here at the Grand Bayman Resort, and literally it has everything you want from wonderful food and nice people and tennis and swimming and everything. So, I'm not wanting for anything, but it'll be kind of nice if I learn that I really am. The quarantine has ended a bit early. I mentioned that I flew over here from Austria, went from Austria through Germany to the States, got a coronavirus test, and then came down here. It really was a relatively uneventful trip. I actually wish I had broadcast one of these episodes on the plane because again it was pretty empty. But unfortunately, my computer battery was dead when I boarded the plane. So, anyways, here we are. I mentioned in the program yesterday I was going to be talking about all things Belize this week. And to keep that promise, I want to start by talking about Belize's very popular, what's called the QRP, or Qualified Retired Person Program. Uh, QRP is really just an easy visa option for people who want to spend time here. It's not, the requirements are pretty simple and straightforward. You have to be at least 45 years old. You can, you have to be able to show that you have at least $2,000 a month of income, whether it's pension income, Social Security, investment income, whatever it is. You can't say, "Oh, I want to come to Belize and open a bar and I'll make $2,000 a month doing that." You have to be able to show that you're bringing the money in with you. It's not really designed to give people the ability to come here and work, although nothing prohibits you from working remotely online. Have a lot of clients that are moving down here and working remotely back in Chicago or Los Angeles or Houston or wherever. You have great internet. The cost of living here is quite low, particularly for a Caribbean island. If you go into the mainland, it's even lower. I think it compares well with the rest of Central America. Ambergris Key is a little bit more expensive because it is an island, but it compares very well with the other Caribbean islands. So if you compare this place to, say, Cayman or BVI or even the U.S. Virgin Islands, places like that, you'll be amazed. You'll find it to be very inexpensive. If you're thinking in terms of, backpacking around Honduras and, staying for $7 a night in a little, lodge somewhere, oh, you're not really going to find that on the island, but you will find that on the mainland. Even some of the other islands, Key Cocker, for example, has a youth hostel. There are places that are very expensive. The north and the west of the country, you have a little bit higher altitude. When you get on the Mexican border and out towards the Guatemalan border, there's what's called the Pine Ridge. A lot of people like that the climate is very temperate and the cost of living there is even lower. And some people like to be living in Belize because it's English speaking, English common law, it's very familiar. But they also like being close to Mexico and Guatemala because they can easily go across the border. Some things are even cheaper there. Mexico, for example, has Walmarts and Sam's Clubs and things like that that Belize doesn't really have. So the Belize QRP program has been around now about 20 years. My law firm helped really implement the program when it first started. We probably process more QRP applications than virtually any other firm out there. I'm sure there's others. I don't have the statistical numbers, but I know that we process a lot. And really, if we can show that you're in good health, you don't have any criminal background, and you have $2,000 a month income, you qualify. You don't have to make a big investment like you do in other countries. Now, one drawback of the QRP, it gives you a equivalent of a green card. It allows you to come here, spend as much time as you want. You're not subject in any way to Belize taxation. A lot of people like that. It allows you to import cars and boats and furniture and things like that completely duty free. That's also another perk. But one of the drawbacks is the QRP itself does not ever lead to citizenship. It's strictly a program that is designed to give you residence. So for most people, that's enough. They just want the ability to live here. They enjoy coming and spending the winter, or I have clients that live here full time now, or with the QRP, you can come and go really as you want. It's been a handy thing to have, again, when people start talking about lockdowns and who can travel and who can't travel. If you have a QRP status, you are, for all intents and purposes, considered to be a Belize resident. And, they're not going to stop you from coming in regardless of the circumstances. So again, the one drawback is it never leads to citizenship. So getting a second passport, being able to vote, things like that are important to you. The QRP would not be the right way to go about it for you. Tomorrow, I'll pick up the theme on other kinds of residency. We'll talk about standard residency. There's also an investor visa program. If you're able to invest $250,000, we'll pick up there tomorrow. Some of those programs do over time lead to citizenship. But for now, I think most people, the QRP is an excellent way to come to Belize. It's an excellent way to experience what it's like to really live here without making a big investment. Gives you the freedom to come and go as you want. The requirements are pretty nominal and straightforward. So I hope that you found this program on the QRP to be interesting. There is a compendium article that goes into a little bit more detail about the QRP program itself. If you check down below and check out the library of articles that you can access in this podcast, look for the one that says Belize QRP. Okay, so on that note, I want to thank you for joining me today. I want to wish you health, I want to wish you happiness, and I want to wish you a wealth that can't be taken away by others. Until next time, take care.